this debate comes quite timely, and I was planning to start talking a little bit about ETSI, but seeing the audience, I think I don't need to, which is good. And anyway, if anyone wants to know anything about ETSI that you don't still know, I'll be still available after the breakfast. So I'll be trying to get across a couple of messages, just two, because my time is very limited here. So it will be two main messages, and I'm not going to disclose which those two messages are. Let's see how awakened you are after coffee. And of course, it's about digital single market. So there's a fundamental characteristic, and I think I've heard it in the last day, so since yesterday. I've been to several meetings all around Brussels, and I've heard this word several times, and it's all about this digital single market, something that without which you wouldn't be able at all to develop this market. It wouldn't exist. And it's all about connectivity. Everybody was just putting very high how important connectivity is. Nothing exists without connectivity today. So it's, again, the action of connecting. And yes, indeed, when you talk about connectivity, then you might immediately think, oh yes, well, a device to another device. Well, I wanted to take it broader, because actually connectivity is a little bit broader. And there are many ways of connecting things. Of course, the first thing to connect anything, you get an engineer, and he will connect anything to anything at any time. Just give him the tools, and it'll happen. Now, if we want to really develop connectivity, large scale, cost efficiently, scalable, replicable, and with the right level of quality, maybe the right way to go is standardization. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but I'd love to have someone telling me wrong, because then I'll learn how to innovate. And then when I refer to connectivity, I will also like to refer to connect in a much broader sense. We are talking about connect, so to connect, and not just DigiConnect, and DigiConnect will have a say in this, but it's not just that I'm talking about. Standards are allowing now to develop this technical connectivity. So yes, when you have devices that you want to connect or interconnect and spread that, of course, this interoperability between of products and services is coming via the standards. And when you look at us as an organization, we are the ones enabling, or ones of the ones enabling this connectivity. And again, you shouldn't look at us as the ones who do it. It's all the industry that's behind us that does it. We are just a little thin layer enabling the industry. So looking at us as this thin layer is probably one of the very big mistakes that we make when we look at standards or standard setting organizations. It's not the organizations, it's what relies behind those organizations. Without their members, those organizations are simply nothing. They are inexistent, they are irrelevant, they won't produce anything. But there are other very interesting connections that the standards in general enable. It's not just about technique, it's not just about engineers gathering together. It's all that's behind that. And believe me, all those who are coming to our standards meetings have understood about this very, very, very well. And that's probably one of the reasons why we are here today. That's one of the reasons why my travels to Brussels are quite frequent. And because something we do, or we try to achieve, is having this complex balance and connector between what's policy making, what's standards, and what's regulation. That's a nice triangle that needs to be very well looked after, and the three are interconnected. We probably cannot talk one without the other. And actually it's not because of the titles, but probably because of those who develop and are affected by this triangle need to have this balance. And believe me, when I tell you that through this thin layer that we have built together, well, that you have built together to put together the standards organizations, that's where you have created this place, this neutral place, because of course we belong to no one, where you can discuss, coordinate, and try to achieve this complex balance. And then if you look at it from the digital domain, and everything starts to be digital today, then of course I think ETSI is quite well placed, and we're very honored to be able to play this role. Now, we can see to several different examples of the need of this balancing, and let's think about also some words that I've heard quite extensively the last days. Let's talk about security, let's talk about trust. So, where could they all be? And how will they build up in this new world where we are thinking of our chair being connected to our table? Everything will be connected. We are talking about this Internet of Things. How about trusting your chair not moving away when you're trying to sit down? Just an example. So, furthermore, now we are seeing how digital is invading almost every sector. Well, it's been like that for a long while. Now it's becoming very relevant because there are figures showing, like, I also like figures sometimes, 20, 50 billion connected devices, depending on who you ask for. So it seems that now it's very relevant. It seems that ICT is like branching all across every sector and every sector of activity. And this is something which is not only welcomed, but even encouraged in the DSM. And I think it's a good sign, it's a positive sign. But then the devil is in the detail. It's great saying, well, everything cooperates, but this cooperation among sectors being paramount is also quite complex. Different speeds, different cultures, different ways of doing. All of us believe in standards, but all of us need to learn to work with each other. Every sector has its own objectives that they have to comply with. So how is it that we can glue all those? And actually I think that basically because ICT is being spreading across, we have an excellent opportunity to be gluing the different sectors through the digital world. And this is one of our key priorities. We've been working on that for a while, and I can say we are progressing slowly, very slowly, I can tell you, but progressing. It's not something that we've lost behind and nothing we have given up on doing. And again, some more connection, because we are talking Europe, but actually I think we have learned to connect the world. It's not about only our borders within Europe, even though that's what we need to push and improve and make better. Of course, that's our role, but we cannot do it alone. We, for sure, will need cooperating in global scale. We need to give response to the global needs of the industry. The industry is no longer looking just internally, particularly the ICT industry. It's not enough. So we have actually learned and created some good tools for cooperation all across the different regions. And we are very, very proud of that. Another nice buzzword that has been going around is 5G. Of course, that's the next big thing to happen. Well, I can tell you, and that's something you probably have already heard about, that most of the industry has already got together to try and see where we're going with 5G, and it's quite a nice consensus as far as I can see it, and that will mean that whatever we have will achieve what we've been longing since the 90s, which is a single system covering the world. We achieved that through LTE. That's, I think, one of the great achievements of European standardization together with our colleagues all across the world. It's not a few items of innovation coming through that, and I think that can be extended to other areas where we work on. But, well, yes, something to be taken into account. Now, we need to understand that despite all that I'm saying, standards keep on not being neutral. They're not from a technical perspective, they're not from a political perspective. And you know, probably better than I do, that all trade partners of Europe are already devising economic and industrial policies which incorporate the standards dimension. They're already doing it. And it's not about non-governmental organizations being nice and to the world. It's all about competitiveness and also support of local or national or regional economy in global markets. Everybody wants to boost their economy, of course, and we shouldn't shy out of that, and we should do as well. So I'm happy to hear, and I was, of course, following very closely what the Commission is doing, and as Christian was saying, this is going very well. There are lots of initiatives, started with a reform in 2012, digital single market. Now, I had it as IMS, and now we've gone to SMS. Excuse me, from a technological point of view, I think we're going backwards. From IP multimedia subsystem to short message system, it's okay, but that's technology. That's why we need to probably balance the act between policy, technology. It's not always easy, and acronyms. Well, we are king in acronyms in ETSI. We have also this joint e-train core report. So there's a lot happening. And also, I think that there's this competitiveness word that we have to have in the back of our minds. And even though we are doing all these initiatives, I think we need to be a little bit careful. And they're just a couple of words of being careful. One, being careful about what the unintended consequences of having too many initiatives might bring because of non-consistency or incoherence or lack of understanding or all across, because we are all working on this. And the second one is be worrying about shortcuts to standardization. I've heard many times people crying, oh, standards, but we have to wait for standards. Well, standards are consensus. And at the end of the day, it's what the industry, yourselves, the government, everybody wants to get out of it. Taking whatever works might get us into nice, endless traps that we might be having strong impacts in our economy and our world. So just to finalize, again, if you want to do it fast or go fast, do it alone. If you want to go far, do it together. So thank you very much, and I hope you got my 2 messages. Thank you.